Hi, welcome back to the 12 Tools of Christmas. This is day 11, and we're talking about our finishing files. This is item number Z1091 for $5.95. You can find it on page 134 of our Autumn Winter Idea Book with Close to My Heart. This is a nice little packet. One thing I appreciate about it with Close to My Heart is that they do package it in a really good little container. It keeps them safe. They are really pointy and sharp, so I like having them in something that I can still have handy and accessible, but they're protected in there, and my hands are protected. So we have three different files that come in the package. They're three different shapes. One has a very square shape to it so that it can get inside little corners. One is flat on one side and gently curved on the other. And the third one is round. So it gives you three different shapes to accommodate whatever kind of piece you're working on. If you work with dimensional elements, then this is a tool you really want to have on hand. As we punch these out of their sheets, you know you have these little nubbins, these little fuzzy things on the sides there. And so if we take our finishing file and just sand gently at that, it just smooths it right away and gives you a nice clean edge. So if you're going to be using your dimensional elements just raw like this, or if you're going to ink it with sponge daubers, or something, chalk them or use markers on them, whatever you're going to want to do, then you want to have them nice and clean, and so you can pick whatever shape feels best to you to work that. If I was needing to get in here, I would definitely want to use one of my curved ones, either the round one or the gentle curve, and you'll find as you use them that each one is really helpful in different areas. So that's using it just as a kind of a raw dimensional element. Now, the other day I was sharing with you about covering your dimensional elements using the bonding memories glue and paper. And that's what I've done here. And as you can see, there are some pretty rough edges on this. So if we're to take the finishing file here and just work gently at that, depending on how you angle it. If I want to angle it kind of over the paper, I'll get more of a distressed look because it'll expose some of that white. And that gets to be a nice look on it. But if I want it cleaner, then I'm going to keep it more straight up and down to the surface rather than angling it over the top. But however you do it, you'll get the look you want, and it just cleans them up nice and clean. And if you find that you do have a little white edge showing there after your filing that you don't want, all you do is take your little sponge dauber with a little bit of the coordinating ink and just gently go over it, and it kind of heals that and hides that white. So these are great for cleaning up your dimensional elements. You can also use them on wood. We have lots of different wooden shapes, and same way as your dimensional elements. You can just use it plain like this, inked, clean up any edges that you want. Ours tend to be punched really clean, but especially if you're going to cover them with paper, covering them with our background texture duos is really pretty. Get a nice pattern on there, and then you're going to want to clean them up after you cut them out with your craft knife. Remember, we apply the bonding memories, stick it on a piece of paper, and then cut it out with a craft knife, and then you clean it up with your finishing files. So covering your items like that is a great way to use the finishing files. Another kind of handy thing to do with them is if you're using a craft heater. Say you have some embossing to do, thermal embossing, and you're using a craft heater, you know how things blow. Your papers tend to blow. So it's really easy to just use the rubber handle end of this to hold that down and do your heating. And it keeps the paper still, and it doesn't mar your paper with that nice rubber handle on it. They have very nice rubber grips. I didn't mention that. And in a pinch, you can also use a little round one as a piercing tool. If you don't have your piercing tool handy, you can grab this and use that. And in a pinch, if you don't have your quilling tool and don't need quite as tight a wind, you can use the rubber end and wind it to curl your paper. So sometimes those little tools come in handy for various different things. But there you go, the finishing files for just $5.95, and they're wonderful to use for lots of different things. I hope you enjoy them. Thanks for visiting.